Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. There are only 2 seasons of Star Trek Strange New Worlds left, but there's plenty of time to give this main character her own spotlight episode. Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 4 premieres on Paramount Plus in 2026. And Strange New Worlds' 5th and final season is currently in production. Trekkers lament the bygone era when a Star Trek series would run for 22 to 26 episodes per season, but Star Trek Strange New Worlds has been remarkable about character development despite only 10 episodes per season. Strange New Worlds is episodic, but the character arcs are serialized. Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 answered a longtime complaint by finally giving Lieutenant Erica Ortega's Melissa Navia an episode that focused on her, and it was one of the best hours of Strange New Worlds' divisive Season 3. While it seems like every headlining member of Captain Christopher Pike's Anson Mount Starship Enterprise crew has now received a spotlight episode, surprisingly, one of the show's most prominent characters is still waiting. Remarkably, Nurse Christine Chapel Jess Bush has not received her own spotlight episode in Star Trek Strange New Worlds' 3 seasons so far. Chapel has been so prominent in the series that it's easy not to realize that Star Trek Strange New Worlds hasn't singularly focused on Christine. Chapel is one of the most popular characters in Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and there has been no lack of her. From Chapel's love affair with Lieutenant Spock Ethan Peck to her medical trials with Dr. Joseph Mabenga Babs Olusanmoken, to her current relationship with Dr. Roger Corby Selene O'Sullivan, Christine has been all over Strange New Worlds. Yet Star Trek Strange New Worlds hasn't delved into Nurse Chapel's backstory the way, for instance, the prequel fleshed out Ensign Nyota Uhura's Celia Rose Gooding history. We know Chapel is from Vermont, that she's a genius, she has loved men and women, and she is a veteran of the Klingon War. Still, Star Trek Strange New Worlds needs to go deeper into Nurse Chapel's life and give Jess Bush the opportunity to carry an entire hour. Chapel is a pivotal character in Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Hopefully, one of the final 16 episodes of Star Trek Strange New Worlds Seasons 4 and 5 will properly spotlight Chapel. Even if Star Trek Strange New Worlds ends without an episode devoted to Nurse Christine Chapel, the transition to Star Trek the original series is inevitably a letdown for Chapel, who is played and originated by Majel Barrett Roddenberry. Far from the dynamic, youthful Chapel who fights Klingons hand-to-hand, devoted herself to curing Captain Marie Battle Melanie Scrofano, and engaged in passionate relationships with Lieutenant Spock and Dr. Roger Corby. Nurse Chapel in Star Trek the original series is a supporting character best remembered for her unrequited love for Spock Leonard Nimoy. This was always going to be a pitfall of a 21st century Star Trek series depicting the youth of a character who was limited by the TV conventions of 60 years ago. But the difference in how Chapel is portrayed in Strange New Worlds vs. TOS becomes even more glaring. Star Trek Strange New Worlds Nurse Chapel is so skilled and talented that she should logically become a doctor. But canon dictates that Dr. Christine Chapel doesn't happen until roughly a decade later in Star Trek the motion picture. Regardless, Nurse Christine Chapel's backstory remains to be told, and Jess Bush deserves the opportunity to display the full range of her limitless talent by carrying her own episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds in its final 2 seasons. Star Trek Strange New Worlds thrives on its ability to blend classic Trek storytelling with modern character-driven depth. Across its seasons, the series has offered emotional showcases for characters like Pike, Lon, Uhura, and even surprising standouts like Pelia. Yet among the bridge crew, one character continues to stand in the shadows, present, essential, quietly powerful, and still waiting for the spotlight they unquestionably deserve. For this creativity piece, let's imagine the focus is on Lieutenant Erica Ortegas, the fan-favorite helmsman whose charm, loyalty, and humor have built a devoted following. She has had great moments sprinkled across the series, but never the full narrative centerpiece that other characters have enjoyed. And arguably, she is the bridge character most overdue for a deep, character-centric exploration. So let's boldly go into why Erica Ortegas needs her own episode, and how that episode could redefine her place in the Trek universe. Erica Ortegas has been a steady, energetic presence since the Enterprise first leaped onto our screens in the SNW premiere. She is quick-witted, unflappable under pressure, and carries a quietly fierce loyalty to her captain and crew. While other characters deal with trauma, destiny, prophecy, or cosmic burdens, Ortegas grounds the ship with something equally crucial: humanity, humor, heart. Her personality is the connective tissue that makes the Enterprise feel like a real home rather than just a starship. But despite all that, she remains one of the few primary characters who has never had an episode that fully unpacks her history, her fears, her aspirations, or the deeper layers beneath the bravado. Strange New Worlds excels at these character deep dives. Pike's fate, Uhura's grief, Lon's isolation, Spock's emotional conflict, M'Benga's moral burden. But Ortegas? She flies the ship, delivers iconic one-liners, and keeps the mood high, yet her internal world remains largely a mystery. That absence is now glaring. An episode waiting to be told. The best Star Trek character episodes follow a legacy formula: a personal struggle, a sci-fi complication reflecting that struggle, a transformation that expands the character's role in the ensemble. Ortegas is primed for all three. Imagine an episode centered on her insecurities, a pilot who is always seen as the fun one, but never the essential one. Beneath her confidence, perhaps she secretly wonders, how would the Enterprise function without me? What is my purpose beyond the helm? What legacy will I leave? These questions could serve as the emotional backbone of a story that puts her in a position no helmsman ever wants. Grounded, either due to injury, reassignment, or a diplomatic requirement forcing her off the bridge. Suddenly, Ortegas must navigate life without the helm, her identity shaken. A sci-fi twist. The pilot without a sky. A strong Ortegas-centered episode could weave in a unique sci-fi phenomenon. Here's a concept that captures the spirit of classic Trek with Strange New Worlds flair. Episode title: The Pilot's Paradox. During a mission involving a spatial anomaly, an ancient, sentient navigation matrix, Ortegas becomes psychically linked to an alien intelligence that senses her confidence at the helm. This entity, perceiving her as the guiding soul of the Enterprise, chooses her as a conduit to interpret the anomaly. But the bond comes with a cost. Every moment she spends near flight control sends ripples through the anomaly, destabilizing it and threatening to tear the ship apart. Pike is forced to ground her, literally removing her from the helm during the most dangerous navigation challenge the ship has ever encountered. For the first time, Ortegas must face herself without the one thing that has always defined her: being the Enterprise's pilot. The identity crisis at the core. This conflict opens the door to her emotional journey. Ortegas has always seemed effortlessly confident, but her confidence might mask an internal pressure, a fear that without her abilities, she has nothing substantial to offer the crew. In a series known for exploring hidden burdens, this fits perfectly. Without the helm, she tries to help engineering, but feels out of place. She attempts to advise security, but realizes she lacks their training. She joins Uhura in communications but becomes overwhelmed by the languages and interpretation systems. Every attempt reinforces the same emotional truth. She has spent so long focusing on being the best pilot that she never allowed herself to grow anywhere else. Where other characters grapple with destiny or trauma, Ortegas wrestles with something deeply relatable: self-worth. A moment of heroism that isn't about flying. The climax of the episode shouldn't be a simple return to the helm moment. Instead, it should show that Ortegas's value goes far beyond flying. As the anomaly becomes unstable, the alien intelligence begins projecting disorienting illusions throughout the ship. No one, not even Spock, can understand the alien intentions clearly, but Ortegas can. Her link with the entity, something she once saw as a burden, becomes the key to saving the crew. She comforts the being, steers its thoughts away from fear, and helps it align with the Enterprise's escape trajectory. In essence, she pilots the mind of the anomaly itself. A pilot flies more than starships. A pilot guides. and that is Ortegas's greatest strength, a renewed role aboard the Enterprise. By the episode's end, Ortegas returns to the helm, but something fundamental has changed. She has proven to herself and to her crew that her contributions are not limited to flight coordinates and evasive maneuvers. She is a leader, a communicator, a bridge between worlds. The story enriches her character in a way the series has long needed, and viewers walk away feeling that Ortegas is finally as layered and essential as every other crew member who's been given a personal spotlight. Why this episode matters for S&W. Strange New World succeeds because it treats its characters with depth and respect. An Ortegas-centric episode would not be filler. It would strengthen the emotional foundation of the ensemble and give the Enterprise another richly developed soul. Fans love Erica for her humor, swagger, loyalty, and energy, but they're ready and overdue for a deeper look behind the visor. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.